It's a great day to help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual. Whoa.
This year, give them unforgettable travel experiences with Get Your Guide.
Cleveland, what's good? This feels amazing to do this for my city, bring it home. This is a dream come true.
If these ropes wasn't 7'2", you would have went through the ropes. I landed the power punches.
If you get the tattoo, I love Jake Paul, let's run it back.
Bet. Let's go.
Less than 4 months after their first fight, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley are indeed running it back. After Tommy Fury was forced to withdraw due to injury, it was Woodley who answered the call for the rematch.
Mr. Tyron Woodley, we called him up. We were like, hey, you want to take the fight? He has been training. He goes, sure, I'll take the fight. Let's do the rematch, run it back. I'm giving him $500,000 extra if he can knock me out.
So what has changed since the first time they squared off in Cleveland this summer? Woodley did indeed get the tattoo on his left middle finger, which may or may not have helped him secure the rematch. But he's acutely aware that his second loss to Paul would severely lessen his ability to get big fights going forward. One thing Woodley can carry is the supreme confidence going into this one, knowing he had Paul on the ropes in round 4 of the first fight and possibly could have finished him with a little bit more aggression. Now for Paul, the former Disney star and YouTuber, beating a former UFC champion like Woodley was a major feather in his cap, having only trained in boxing for 3 years. And love him or hate him, Jake Paul is one of the biggest draws in the sport already. But this time around, he'll come in as a heavy favorite. And what comes with that are higher expectations. If the problem child can get by Woodley once again, he'll have no shortage of high-profile options in the near future. Will Jake move to a perfect 5-0, or can Woodley put him away this time around?
Here we are, back at it.
We're in for a wild night in Tampa, only on Showtime pay-per-view.
Let's get it on! Again, for the second time in 4 months, YouTube superstar Jake Paul and former UFC champion Tyron Woodley will meet at the center of a professional boxing ring. Back in August, Paul claimed a split decision over Woodley, adding some validity to that unbeaten boxing record. But the problem child sees it as unfinished business. His goal Saturday night, stop the former MMA star, and Woodley's mission is the same, despite taking the fight on just 2 weeks' notice after Paul's original opponent, Tommy Fury, backed out due to lingering COVID effects. All right, let's get it out to our Tampa 2 co-hosts of the award-winning Morning Combat podcast, Brian Campbell and Luke Thomas, always with a front row to fighting history, no matter how strange it may be. Fellas, before we get into the matchup, BC, give us a sense of the moment building around Amalie Arena here on Saturday. Has Tampa embraced this event?
They really have, and it's a non-traditional event, so you have to expect a non-traditional crowd. There's plenty of influencers here. It almost looks like a prom night to some degree. You're seeing a younger clientele coming in, but overall, they like this action. They're expecting action in this rematch, and they've embraced both Jake Paul and this circus that it brings to the overall fight game. Look, in some ways, this event is what it is, but you do have two hungry fighters who know each other well, who went 8 competitive-ish rounds some 3.5 months ago, and they're going to do it for a second time, whether Luke Thomas likes it or not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I walked upstairs just a minute ago to get some food. Some of the women were shoeless and some of the dudes were shirtless. It's going to be a potentially rowdy crowd here this evening in Tampa. Well, you know, it's kind of funny. We were there in Cleveland for the first Jake Paul fight, and you walked around, you got a similar sense that, you know, they were kind of fight fans. They certainly were a great crowd, but they weren't like maybe the traditional profile. Upstairs, same kind of thing. Not exactly the traditional profile of a fight fan, but they seem like they're pretty rowdy. He's right. Tampa has embraced it. Could be a good crowd tonight.
Ringside perhaps looking more like the explore page of your Instagram, but tonight scheduled as an 8-rounder cruiserweight bout with both of these fighters looking to end it well before that final bell, guys. Woodley, he's got a $500,000 side bet with Paul if he does knock him out. Paul looking to further validate what he did in August. Luke, do you expect a less technical, not that the first one was all that technical in the first place, but a more free-wielding fight this go around?
Certainly possible, and especially if somebody gets hurt, it might really devolve pretty quickly from there. It's an interesting one because the first time around, it's like with both of these guys, Jake was clearly better and had more well-rounded skills, but both of them are such novices that the other one can take advantage of their many shortcomings, even if all not so much intentionally. They could even luck their way into it. You just never really know when the bottom is going to drop out. There's a ton of pressure on Tyron Woodley to do a little bit more than he did last time. There's pressure on Jake Paul to potentially, you just beat this guy 4 months ago. Let's kind of get this over with as well. He's claimed to show he's going to have new skills and new technique. And when you are that young, you can pick up stuff fight to fight pretty quickly. So I think it will be a little bit more high-paced, but there could also be moments where Tyron Woodley retreats to being defensive again, and now Jake has to create openings. That's very hard for a novice fighter to do. So a lot of ways it could go, probably more action, but we'll see.
I just believe that there's no excuses here. No excuses for both of them. They both, I think, maybe took their opponent a little bit lightly the first time around, but also exited that fight thinking if they had done just a little bit more, maybe they could have either had a win in Woodley's case or a much more clear win in Paul's case. So I think you're going to have to look at that 15-year age gap between them. Can Jake Paul continue to use his height and his reach and that youth advantage to right the wrong if that's the lane you're going from what he didn't do the first time around, which is, again, leave no doubt, maybe even finish Woodley. And if you're Woodley, this has become a theme of the second half of his combat sports career, particularly the way he exited UFC, not maybe a failure to launch, not throwing enough, not letting it go. He was the one, Tyron Woodley, who landed the bigger punches in the first meeting, had Jake Paul staggering into the ropes in round 4. It is going to be up to him to make this a fight in just a few hours from now here in Tampa.
Well, if this is in fact a circus, you got to give credit where credit's due. Jake Paul does take his role of ringleader quite seriously. Every time he steps into the ring, seems to add something to his game, sharpen one of his tools. BC, where would you like to see improvement on the Paul side here in his 5th professional fight?
He's a better boxer than maybe he should be, or maybe you would think he would be, being that, again, he's just 24. He's only been, had the gloves on for 3 years now, but he's obviously taking it very seriously for him to have this type of impact on the business where, yes, he's staying in his own lane. He's fighting ex-NBA, ex-YouTubers, everything but ex-boxers, right? Although Tommy Fury, let's give him credit, he was trying to go in a different direction, but he's been better, younger, stronger than them. I like that he has decent boxing fundamentals and a foundation. I would like him, though, to be able to leave that and get more focused on getting a finish when it dictates it, when the opening is there in a fight. This is an interesting rematch because, Tyron Woodley's kind of doing them a solid to keep the show on, going, to keep the date, so to speak. If you're Jake Paul, I think you want to not only leave no doubt from what happened the first time around, you want to do it as early as you can and get the guy out of there. Why? Because even though Tyron Woodley's age 39, he's got much more experience in the wars, taking and giving at this level than a Jake Paul. So, Jake Paul, I love the way you box. I want to see the way you finish, though, tonight. That's the onus that's going to be on him.
I'll add a few things there, if I may. I would say you can point to clear changes that a guy like Jake Paul could make that are actually pretty doable, even with 4 months apart, to picking up boxing late in your life. Number one, I would actually say moving to his right. If you look at the first fight, he cannot generate any offense unless he moves to his left. That will open up a lot more for him. I would also say putting Tyron Woodley on the back foot. He let Tyron Woodley do a lot of coming to him last time, and that kind of slowed the fight down. You could pick up the pace if you can push him on his heels a little bit. I would also say, lastly, combination punching. In the first part of that fight, Jake Paul, maybe one of the better things he does, actually, is some combination punching. He got away from it in the second half and was content to wait till Tyron came at him and then jab his way around the backside of the ring. I think this time, taking a little bit more authority, a little bit more of an ownership, grabbing the fight by the scruff of the neck might do wonders for him. We'll see if he can.
Yeah, we're not sure how beautiful the sweet science will be on this given night, but it's going to be fun to watch it all play out. Before I let you guys go, we got to put a pick to it here. Some of that YouTube money coming in on the Paul side as he's ballooned to a minus 240 favorite. BC, you smiled first, so you pick first.
Look, the same things I loved about Jake Paul's chances coming into the first fight, it just didn't play out that way. Younger by 15 years, bigger, longer, might even be a bigger puncher, all things considered. If you're Jake Paul, you don't give Tyron Woodley a chance to be dangerous. I think he'll show improvements in this one. I think he'll put it on Tyron Woodley. And once it gets into a war, once it gets off script and moves from boxing match to a fight, obviously, it's anyone's game right there, but I'm going to go with all those intangible qualities and advantages that Jake Paul holds over an aging Woodley. Give me a Paul knockout. Give me a triumphant announcement of who could be next, who he's targeting next. Maybe you, Luke Thomas.
Yeah, doubt it. But I would say this for Jake Paul. I like his chances. I like his chances via stoppage. You can put that as my official prediction. I mean, listen, here's the reality about the first fight with Tyron Woodley. It wasn't that close. Tyron had that one nice moment. Maybe he should have been credited with a knockdown. But short of that, you could give almost any other round to Jake Paul. I thought he won that one pretty cleanly. Why is that going to change in 4 months, especially for Tyron Woodley, who is older, granted not by a lot, 4 months, but was, in the middle of filming a television show. He told us that directly. It's just hard to see exactly what he can do differently. Plus, he's had those long-standing issues that BC indicated about a lack of volume. This is Jake Paul's fight to lose. The question is whether or not he can actually, as I mentioned before, really step on the gas a little bit, take authority and control, and get a stoppage inside the distance.
Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell, always game to embrace the weird. Gentlemen, fantastic stuff as always. Thank you. Oh, and there's plenty of great stuff coming your way from those two gentlemen. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, each and every day bring you all the latest in the world of fight. Download and subscribe to The Morning Combat, the premier podcast, an award-winning podcast. Anywhere they're ringing a bell, keeping a clock, and punches are being thrown, these guys got you covered. Download, subscribe, and enjoy The Morning Combat.
Inspired by State Farm's surprisingly great rates.
It's so cheap, yeah, got a great rate on the down low, 'cause Jake isn't your average Joe.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The world has waited 5 years, 11 months, and 29 days for Adele's newest album. Don't wait another second. Pre-order your copy of Adele's 30 in limited edition crystal clear vinyl today, only at Walmart.com.
This feels amazing to do this for my city, bring it home. This is a dream come true.
If these ropes wasn't 7'2", you would have went through the ropes. I landed the power punches.
If you get the tattoo, I love Jake Paul, let's run it back.
Bet. Let's go.
Less than 4 months after their first fight, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley are indeed running it back. After Tommy Fury was forced to withdraw due to injury, it was Woodley who answered the call for the rematch.
Mr. Tyron Woodley, we called him up. We were like, hey, you want to take the fight? He has been training. He goes, sure, I'll take the fight. Let's do the rematch, run it back. I'm giving him $500,000 extra if he can knock me out.
So what has changed since the first time they squared off in Cleveland this summer? Woodley did indeed get the tattoo on his left middle finger, which may or may not have helped him secure the rematch. But he's acutely aware that his second loss to Paul would severely lessen his ability to get big fights going forward. One thing Woodley can carry is the supreme confidence going into this one, knowing he had Paul on the ropes in round 4 of the first fight and possibly could have finished him with a little bit more aggression. Now for Paul, the former Disney star and YouTuber, beating a former UFC champion like Woodley was a major feather in his cap, having only trained in boxing for 3 years. And love him or hate him, Jake Paul is one of the biggest draws in the sport already. But this time around, he'll come in as a heavy favorite. And what comes with that are higher expectations. If the problem child can get by Woodley once again, he'll have no shortage of high-profile options in the near future. Will Jake move to a perfect 5-0, or can Woodley put him away this time around?
Here we are, back at it.
We're in for a wild night in Tampa. only on Showtime pay-per-view.
A wild night indeed as you take a look at the main card there. Again, going down on Showtime pay-per-view. They're starting at 9 Eastern on Saturday night. Of course, it is headlined by Jake Paul going up against Tyron Woodley. A rematch there. But you may notice two names. How about a Pro Bowler going up against a former NBA star? Here's more from Tampa.
Well, fans, we're ready to bring off our fighters. We continue our weigh-in with a heavyweight special attraction, former NBA All-Star guard versus the former NFL Pro Bowl running back. Weight limit on this fight is 215 pounds, 4 rounds scheduled. First, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be stepping into the boxing ring for the first time. The football great, superstar running back, 5-time NFL Pro Bowler, introducing Frank Gore.
I'm with the other guy. He'll be out in a minute. I'm not his fighter. Woodley. Yeah.
Frank Gore weighs in at 209.5 pounds, 209.5 pounds. And now his opponent also stepping into the boxing ring for the very first time, the basketball great, 2-time gold medalist, 3-time NBA All-Star, introducing Darren Williams. Williams weighs in at 211.25 pounds, 211.25 pounds. And right in between them, the co-founder of MVP Promotions, Nakisa Badarian. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, a heavyweight special attraction, Darren Williams versus Frank Gore.
This holiday season, give the gift of Grubhub.
All right, I'll talk to Frank here for a quick second. Just one last question for you, Frank. I know you're tired of talking. You have competed on many a big stage. We're looking right over here. What excites you most about the opportunity in front of you on Saturday?
I see all my fans here. I trained my ass off 8 weeks. I see my team Sweatbox in the building. I'm ready to go, baby.
Can't wait. There he is, guys. Show some love for Frank Gore. Now let's show some love to Darren Williams. You're making your debut tomorrow. Yep. Could you tell us, what kind of a fighter are you? Who would you compare yourself to?
I don't know. I don't really have anybody to compare myself to, different style. I'm just looking forward to all this stuff being over and being able to fight now. Put in the work, and that's all I can do.
Can't wait for it, my man. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Show some love to Darren Williams, everyone.
We present the weigh-in for the main event of the evening. Cruiserweight featured bout, scheduled 8 rounds of boxing. Leave no doubt. Brought to you by Most Valuable Promotions and Showtime in association with Holden Productions. Sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome at this time from St. Louis, Missouri, looking to avenge his loss, the hard-hitting MMA star and former UFC welterweight champion of the world, the chosen one, Tyron Woodley. Woodley weighs in at 189 and 1/2 pounds. 189 and 1/2 pounds. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now fighting out of Puerto Rico by way of Cleveland, Ohio. Undefeated at 4 wins, no losses, 3 wins coming by way of knockout. The renowned content creator, media sensation, undefeated fighter, the problem child, Jake Paul. Child weighs in at 191 and 1/2 pounds. 191 and 1/2 pounds for Jake Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, co-founder MVP Promotions Nikisa Badarian is between them. It's the main event of the evening. Cruiserweights, 8 rounds of boxing. The problem child, Jake Paul versus the chosen one, Tyron Woodley. It's live from the Amalie Arena on Showtime pay-per-view. Available on traditional cable and satellite services. Streaming live on Showtime app. Don't miss it tomorrow night. The main event of the evening. Cruiserweight featured attraction and our full night of pay-per-view boxing.
We'll have a quick word with Tyron Woodley here. Former UFC welterweight champion, getting a chance to right the wrong from this past August. Tyron, what did you say to Jake up there just moments ago?
Tomorrow won't be a short night. It's going to be a long night. But nobody going to second guess you after tomorrow night. Thank you for bringing the dog out of me. Tomorrow we battle. Eat well, rest well. It's going to be a fucking fight tomorrow night.
Give it up for the chosen one, Tyron Woodley. Good luck to you, Tyron. And a quick word with the problem child, the undefeated Jake Paul.
Pose up together, guys.
All right. An impromptu pose right here. They fought for the first time back in August in Cleveland. They run it back tomorrow at the Amalie Arena, sold out here in Tampa. Jake, what did you say to Tyron up there?
I said it's fucking go mode. A different Jake Paul you're going to see this time. Bucking in the middle of the ring. No funny like last time. I'm him up. I'm him up. I'm him up, Ariel. I'm him up.
I believe he is going to F up Tyron Woodley. That's what he just said, Jake. Good luck to you. Thank you for the time. Can't wait for it. There he is, Jake Paul, the problem child, everyone. Show some love.
It's called Problem Bot, or something like that. In case you were wondering, taking a look at the tail of the tape. Again, this is a rematch. Jake Paul won back in August in the first bout between these two via decision. For more on this fight and everything else in the world of fighting, make sure to download and follow the Morning Combat Podcast.
With Smile Direct Club, you'll get a smile you love in as little as 4 to 6 months.
Smile Direct Club.
So as you may recall, back in August, we did a little MVP face-to-face with Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, and it broke the internet. And so as you know, Saturday, December 18th, Showtime pay-per-view, they're doing it again, they're running it back, so you know we have to do another one of these. And let me tell you, sometimes in movies, the sequels aren't as good as the first one. This sequel will be better than the first one. Well, how about this? We are back a little over 3 months after Cleveland. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley 2, another MVP face-to-face. Ariel Helwani here in between these guys. I don't think many people thought we would do this again. The first one was very entertaining. How about we do it one more time, fellas?
Why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Why not? Run it back. He got the tattoo, and it was a massive pay-per-view. And I have respect for Tyron, and it was a good fight, so I think there's still unanswered questions.
There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to ask. I do want to let everyone know that, of course, we are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We got to show some love. They are the official sports betting partner of the highly anticipated Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 2 fight. And how about this promotion, guys? They're asking people to bet $1. If you bet $1 on either one of you landing a punch, a single punch in this 8-round fight, you can win $100. How about that? That's a tremendous promotion.
This is giving away $100.
Just like that, one punch. That's all that has to happen. And if you're not living in a sportsbook state, you can join the Paul versus Woodley 2 pool and win up to $25,000. All you have to do when you sign up, use the code GLOVES, and they will hook you up. Shout out to the good folks over at DraftKings Sportsbook. By the way, he mentioned the tattoo. Can we have visual evidence of it? Where's it
What's
at?
left, man?
Oh no! Wait, show it to the camera.
It's fading away like.
What kind? Can you show
like
it to the
he's
camera?
lining.
What kind of tattoo?
You're the first
fades
person to
away?
ask to see it, and I showed it to everybody else. I did like that too, but I felt weird doing that too.
Is that a legit tattoo? Just
I
for the
don't
record.
know. It doesn't look like
that a
it.
henna?
Scratch
What is
it?
Is it? Do you henna it every?
No, it's a real tattoo, but I was trying to troll the troll because one, I didn't think I lost a fight. Two, it wasn't the first choice in my life to put I love this dude on my hand. So I'm like, how can I troll and flip this coin? Put the I love you on the finger that means opposite of love, and this shit's gonna wear off. So probably in another couple months, this will never took place.
How do you feel about that?
It is what it is, you know. He had it at one point, so I guess it counts, and that's all that really matters. I guess he still had "I love Jake Paul" tattooed on him. That was a bet, though. He took the bet, and he is a man of his word, so I respect that.
Can you describe, like, you're actually staring at Tyron Woodley again? We're in a different locale. We're not in your hometown of Cleveland, but you have to climb this mountain. You climbed it literally 3.5 months ago, and now you have to do this over
It's a big
again.
mountain.
Yeah.
He's got big cheeks.
What is it like actually doing this again mentally for you?
Doing him again.
This, I said this. This whole thing.
It's exciting.
You already know.
It's exciting to get another grab of those cheeks, and I'm excited to be here in Florida. You know, sun's out, buns out.
Why? You had the line also at the press conference today. Why? Why are you focusing on that part of the anatomy?
It's just funny.
That part of the anatomy.
Yeah, just, I mean, it's just funny to me because everyone tries to be so tough in this sport, and I don't give a fuck. So, you know.
And I know better than the comic because we're in the cancel culture right now. Anything I say, any little gentle rebuttal back. So unfortunately, I just gotta let him go ahead and say the anatomy shit.
What's it like for you to be staring at him again? You did this already. You did this dance, and now you're looking at him again.
You know what? I think the first time around, I didn't know a lot about Jake in the ring. Nobody did because he didn't have a lot of rounds. So sparring is one thing, fighting is another thing. He fought at most 2 rounds before then. So I went in there and I had to be ready for everything. It's one thing to break down a fight of what he would do against a similar style wrestler as me. We didn't have that. one, he never fought a similar style wrestler as me. Two, there was no footage on it. There was no real sparring. There was no real shadow boxing. I didn't have shit to really bank it off of. Now I got 8 rounds of me fighting him. So I can look at what I did well. I can look at what he did well. You know what I mean? Both guys got punched. Both guys fought the 8 rounds. So now it's time to really expound upon that. And a lot of people are making like, oh, this is a last minute fight. Oh, what did you take? No, it's not a last minute fight. It's last minute for y'all. It's last minute for you guys. Like when the fight ended and I got back into training, I was working on the things I could have did differently. I was working on things that not only for the fight against Jake, anybody I boxed, I needed to tighten some shit up. And I started doing that. And I was sparring, I was conditioning, I was running. So when they asked me, you know, they couldn't even really finish the statement before I was in.
What is this?
What is that?
This is the most valuable boxer belt given to me by the CEO of Most Valuable Promotions. And I think it speaks for itself.
So this was gifted to you. You had nothing to do with this.
No, I mean, the CEO of Most Valuable Promotions gave it to me.
Would that
Ain't
be
that you?
Nikisa?
That's me.
Oh, you? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't
This
sure if you
dude
were referring
gifted
to
himself a
Nikisa.
belt.
No, I gave it to myself.
Okay. So you designed it? Can you tell us the
Alec,
inspiration?
so Alec Monopoly, he's basically, the only way to describe him is he's our generation's Picasso.
Okay.
He designed and painted it. One of his paintings sells for $200,000, $250,000. And it has the Hermes Birkin bag sewn into the side here.
Wow.
Most Valuable Boxer for Jake Paul. And then Diamond Rolex,
Wow.
Diamond Cartier as well.
You leaving them watches in there?
Yeah, leaving them in there. And this is one of many. We want to, Most Valuable Promotions, we want to give these belts to the people who we think are the most valuable.
So-
And make a statement. You know, the general public doesn't know the difference between the WBC, the IBF, the WBO belts. This is something that they can universally recognize as who has the most valuable belt.
Is this on the line?
No, I mean, this one's for me. You know, this is something that I earned. This is something that I earned, not for what I'm doing, just doing in the ring. It's outside of the ring as well. For the sport as a whole, the audience that I'm bringing, my foundation, what I'm doing for Fighter Pay, all of it is what makes me one of the most valuable boxers.
Do you want this if you win?
No, I'm good.
Why?
Shit, they say for Jake Paul. I already got this dude damn fake name on my finger.
I mean, they could.
Walk around with a belt with his name on it. No, I mean, whatever it takes for him to come out there is best, because that's the Jake I want. I want the one that's his best. You know what I mean? One thing I can tell you is I'm never gonna throw bullshit out there. And I looked at his face. He want to fight. He ready to fight, and I like that. And I'm ready to fight. So
Can we see your eyes?
Oh yeah, you want to see them?
Yeah, I just feel like it'd be good.
Cool. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, we got
Just
that.
Why do you want to see his eyes?
Just to see, like, the glasses, you know, it's like a facade almost.
It's to block out the bullshit, because most of it is.
You feel like he's putting on a front?
No, I think it's just easy, you know, when they used to put on sunglasses and hide behind that versus looking your opponent in the eye.
What do you see now?
I see a guy.
Well, what do you see when you look into his eyes?
You know,
nothing different than the shades on.
Yeah, I see his actual eyes, you know. It's good to just see that versus, you know, the shades. I like to look into his dreamy eyes, so it's like, that's all it is.
You
bro.
you edging them on.
No, I want to know why. Sometimes you hear people
say.
say, when I look into my opponent's eyes, I
That's
see
half the reason why I'm wearing the glasses, because I know you're finna say some bullshit.
Man, this guy's
And
experienced.
Guys, he's doing the mental warfare. Guys fall into it, and that's what happened to him. I just never did that. I'm not gonna do it.
This is an experienced fighter. He's a vet. He's a 5-time UFC champion. I don't need to look into his eyes. He's not going to tell me. I know he's not scared. Why? He's not. He's a killer, you know, and that's great. I'm not going to look into his eyes. He's not going to look into my eyes and see fear, because we both don't fear any man, and that's how he was built, and that's how I was raised. So looking into his eyes is just man to man talking.
I respect that, honestly. I've looked at some guys' eyes and they wasn't ready. They were scared. They didn't want to fight, or they didn't know how to. They couldn't figure me out. When I fought Carlos Condit, Killer, I looked at his eyes. He said, "I haven't figured him out yet." He was gonna fight me, or I fought guys I looked in the eyes. They were scared, and some guys fight better out of fear, because they don't want you to fucking hit them, so they gotta hit you first. But I like fighting a guy that's best, and I think the fans deserve fighters at their best. You don't want to see Tyron Woodley washed up and can't fight, and he's fighting that version. I don't want him going out there and making excuses because it was last minute. He was trained to fight Tommy. So you guys want the best fight. That's what you pay for. This ain't really boxing, dog. This is entertainment. Boxing is a sport that we're doing But people paying $59.99 to be fucking entertained. And the best way to entertain is two dudes that saying, fuck it. I'm going to try to fuck you up on Saturday. And I pray he going to try to do the same thing. And I really mean that. I'm not saying it because it's the smart thing to say. It's trying to say pay-per-view. But I'm going to try to fucking hurt him. I'm really going to try to. And I'm not going to stop until the fight's over with.